to my channel. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button and also the like and share button and comment. So, today I want to talk to you about anxiety. You know, I get a lot of clients that call in with what I would consider typical anxiety, but they believe that it is something more intense, or let's just call it a problem or an issue. You know, people always call in and ask, is this normal? Is this normal? You know, in therapy, there really is no normal. We don't use normal. We do use abnormal. We also use typical, atypical. I like to stick to typical, atypical. So, anxiety, you know, what is it? First of all, everyone has anxiety. It is literally your central nervous system reacting and responding to some kind of external stimuli, usually something externally happening, right? So, anxiety, you know, just for some information, right? You have your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system is the one that causes the anxiety, the unpleasant anxiety symptoms that we may experience. What do I mean? Rapid speech. Thoughts start to ramp up, they start to go faster. Um, Maybe quirks. I like to call them little quirks. They're called physiological warning signs. Like our body gives us warning signs to when we're getting overwhelmed and anxiety is increasing. That may be scratching your nose. It may be picking in your head. It may be picking at your nails or biting your nails, pacing, tapping your leg, um, moving around, fidgeting, you know. And so all of those things we typically have, most people have little quirks that they do, are physiological warning signs. So whenever you are experiencing those warning signs, that's when you want to catch your anxiety, so it does not increase to a atypical or abnormal level, which would be what, a panic attack, right? So everyone has anxiety, not everyone has panic attacks. But let me back up. So when people call in or when I'm doing a session, most people, the question is anxiety normal? Is what I'm experiencing, is it normal? And for the most part, a lot of people's anxiety is normal. There's a trigger and then there's a response. Okay, we really can't stop responses, natural, automatic responses. We can't stop that. A lot of it has to do with your personality, your experiences. Some of them may be trauma responses as well. However, what we can do is control the behaviors after we feel those sensations. So some people, when they get those physiological warning signs, so they start picking, rapid speech, you know, the thoughts increase, intrusive thoughts start to come and won't stop. You know, say for instance a fear of death. You know, say so, for instance someone injures their ankle and then they automatically think that their leg is broken, then they may have to have surgery and then they may pass away in surgery. You know, it just increases, you just add on. And those are thoughts, and we'll talk about that a whole nother time because those are super important, and that is the foundation of what therapy does. You process your thoughts and your belief systems. So say you have that inner injury and you automatically you start to add on additional worries, fears, thoughts, scenarios. You start to play out things. You also, your physiological warning signs are kicking up. You're probably moving around, you're pacing, you're fidgeting. Um, so you're feeling symptoms from your anxiety. The difference is from atypical to typical. So atypical, so not the norm, still won't say normal, but not the norm, a person will react to those with a panic attack. Their anxiety levels will increase so much that they, um, what do I want to say? That they behave out or play out that feeling, right? With a panic attack. You're reacting to those sensations. Now, a person who typically manages their anxiety and doesn't have panic attacks will feel those sensations and maybe go and do something calming, maybe sit down, maybe stop moving, maybe process what's going on. Um, Yeah, and usually it's a distracting or doing something different or calming, and they won't get to that level. It could be through self-talk, calming, motivating self-talk instead of worrying about having a panic attack. The number one reason they say that people have panic attacks is because they fear that they're going to have another panic attack. And so just that fear is just adding on, and your central nervous system can't take it, and so it overflows, and that's what you get. So is anxiety normal? Absolutely. There are things that in life that worry us. There are things in life that we feel like we can't manage. There's definite triggers. Here's a prime example of why anxiety is normal. It's a warning system, okay? It warns us. It protects us too, if you want to look at it that way. Say you're walking in an alley and somebody's following you. The hairs on your neck stand up. You're almost shaking. You start walking faster. You just know that they're going to attack you. Well, that's your body, your brain, you notifying you that, hey, I'm in a dangerous situation. Let me be alert and stay alert just in case something happens. Let me be prepared to run. It's that fight, flight, freeze, or, fight, flight, freeze, or collapse system. That's what it's for. It's a warning system. However, again, sometimes people are unable to manage it, and so it increases to a level where they absolutely can't manage, because once a panic attack happens, there's no going back from that. You have it, and you have to ride it out, right? It's you can't stop it in the middle. It's gonna happen. So back to why you have a central nervous system, right? It's a warning system, and we all have to have that. So yes, again, we all have anxiety. I have anxiety. When I get to going and I'm on something, that's anxiety. I'm excited. It's a happier, more pleasant anxiety, but it's still an anxiety. So there are 4 areas, or should I say responses, to anxiety. You have your flight, which is run. Like I said, you may want to run in that alley because you're feeling that anxiety, and it may be appropriate to run. You have your fight. A lot of people fight when they're overwhelmed, when they're frustrated, when they're stressed out. All forms of anxiety. A lot of the times, frustration. You fight. You want to fight it out. Boxing is actually a really good physical coping skill for anxiety. A lot of people who have anxiety, they may want to push it out because it's literally an energy that they feel. And it's a strong energy, just like a lot of other emotions. Love, anger, they're all really strong emotions you feel, which is why they're so bothersome. And so fight, flight, freeze. This is when people, you've seen it. Say on the scary movies where somebody's trying to get in the door and they can't get in, they just stop and just drop, and they're just done. They're just giving up, and so that's also how animals respond this way as well. And so you freeze. You freeze from fear. You cannot move. And I always tell my clients, fear immobilizes you. If you're stuck in a fear-based state of mind, you're not moving. You're not making decisions. You're just stuck. So fear, in more than one way than the physical freezing, like I'm talking about now, it also mentally freezes you to where you're not making decisions. Okay? And then the last one that most people don't talk about is collapse. Now, this is also a trauma response. It's stress, anxiety, is trauma responses. This is a trauma response, collapsing. This is when you literally pass out. Okay? You're not cognizant, you're not coherent, you're out. The collapse state is also, and you've all seen this, it's when you see people on a roller coaster, right? Everyone has seen this. It's actually quite scary. I feel it is when I watch it. You've seen people get on roller coasters, and it's usually like one of those slingshot rides where they get kind of thrown in the air. It's a really fast roller coaster, and they're just bobbing and bobbing, and then they finally come to. That is a collapse. So that's why, my smile went away. It's really scary, I think, to kind of see. I know a lot of people laugh at them when they see those videos. but they got so afraid that their central nervous system shut down. They passed out and they collapsed. And so I don't know if that's actually healthy or unhealthy. In therapy, that would be considered unhealthy. I don't know if it is medically. Maybe somebody can leave a comment and let me know if it's medically unhealthy to go on a roller coaster and pass out and continue to do that. I don't know. I would think it's a lot of stress on the body, but I'm not sure. But as far as mental health wise, you would not want to collapse, and you would not want that to be a repeated thing, out of fear, right? So, this also happens in animals. This is what they kind of go into before they feel like they're dying or are going to die. Their heart rate slows down, and they collapse, they pass out. And it almost also, I believe this is what they said, don't quote me, but I believe they're getting ready to die. Or they're also faking, right? They've gotten so afraid that their body shuts down for them to reserve that energy. And then once the threat is gone or once they come to, they can pop up, okay? But some of them do die off if they stay in that state too long, right? But those are the states for our central nervous system: our fear, our anxiety, fight, flight, freeze, or collapse. Now, generally, again, we all have anxiety, so some of those options are healthy. You can fight, you can flee when you need to, right? If there is a presenting trigger, a reason to have that anxiety. But when there's no reason to have that anxiety and you're responding in that way, it's taxing, it's tiresome, and it's unhealthy. And you should definitely reach out and get some help so you can learn how to manage that. Anxiety is also one of the areas that I really do like working with because I know it's manageable. I know my client can see the changes that they need to see, right? I know that it's just their central nervous system overreacting and responding. I know these things. And you also know that there are certain things in areas like calming that is very much needed. Ask yourself right now, if you're a person with high anxiety, ask yourself, do you find it difficult to relax? I bet that answer is yes. So many people with anxiety struggle to calm themselves and relax. And that's generally what it takes. So if you're looking at this video and you're like, oh my God, I've tried everything. I've been doing this, I've been doing that. Ask yourself, have you really tried to really calm self? Even when you're not in the panic state. You want to practice tips and tools when you're not in that state, or when it's not so intense, the symptoms are not so intense, because you want to get familiar with it, you want to learn it, and you want to be able to do it when you're not in need, so therefore you can do it when you really are in need. Make sense? So anything, I always say to my clients, anything you learn in therapy, try at least 3 good times during that week. And that's why we do weekly sessions. We want to check back in, make sure whatever we've given you as options, that you're trying them and that they actually work for you. So many clients don't do their homework. They don't. And that's what it takes. Therapy and change in general. And I'll have a video about change because I do have a few, probably, I guess a lot of people have these type of beliefs, but I definitely have some unconventional beliefs about change. Definitely possible. Definitely. Or I wouldn't be doing this, right? And we definitely change as people, individuals, all the time. But yeah, it takes the work. And so ask yourself, am I really calming myself? Have I practiced calming myself? Do I have some good go-to calming coping skills? And am I monitoring those physiological warning signs? Okay, when I get to picking at my nails or picking at your skin or picking at your hair, whatever you do, making sure you monitor those, catch them, and attack it at that moment, so your anxiety doesn't reach a level where you can't turn back. Okay? So I hope that helps answer. Does everyone have anxiety? Is anxiety normal? It totally is normal. There's just different levels or intensities that people, go through. Okay? But we all have it. It's a part of our central nervous system. It is something that we can regulate. Oh, and first line of defense, breathing, belly breathing, because that's going to balance out your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system. Get that sympathetic nervous system back balanced, right? And so belly breathing. And I'll probably go over a video about belly breathing, maybe, but I'm sure you guys can look it up. Definitely for the ladies, make sure your belly actually expands and goes back in, because I know we're used to holding in our tummies. No matter how big or small they are, you kind of suck it in even more. Don't do that when you're belly breathing. Sometimes it's easier to lay on your back initially so you can allow your belly to go up and down. So when you inhale, belly goes out. When you exhale, belly goes in. And it's through pursed lips. Slow, steady breath. And you want to exhale longer. I always tell my clients to think about it. You're blowing the crap out. So your exhalation is longer, okay? But there's anxiety in a nutshell. Yes, it can be improved. Of course, you're going to want to address the beliefs, because some people think it can't be improved. They think they're going to suffer from it their entire lives. No, everyone has anxiety their entire lives, but that intensity, those panic attacks, definitely can be done, okay? You can definitely get rid of anxiety and panic attacks. All right, this is Zanye with Zanye Speaks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below. I would love to hear your comments. Again, I can't wait to go live either. Talk to you guys soon. You guys have a wonderful night and day.